Last week in Memphis at the Mid-South Coliseum, there was a six-man match in which Jeff Jarrett, Kerry Von Erich, and Billy Travis were in the ring against the Dirty White Boys and Ronnie P. Gossett. Take a look at how that one ended.
Comes up with a big fist, goes down between the legs. In comes Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett firing off on the Dirty White Boys. Ronnie Gossett staying outside the ring at this time as Jarrett clearing the ring.
And Travis is back up, but Jarrett seems to have matters in hand as he rams their heads together. And look out, here comes Ronnie Gossett in, and Kerry Von Erich meets him, and he's holding up the claw hand. He's got it. He's got the claw on Ronnie Gossett. Man, and the pressure that he's got. Jarrett up on the top rope, meanwhile, comes off on the Dirty White Boy. Count of one, count of two, and baby, this one is over.
Jeff Jarrett, Billy Travis, and the modern-day Warrior coming out victorious over the Dirty White Boys and Ronnie Gossett. As they're trying to get that iron claw off of Gossett in the corner. Tony Anthony in there with a metal chair now. Going to work on him. Nails Von Erich in the back with it. Does the same to Jarrett. Puts him down on the canvas. Anthony in there doing a lot of damage with that chair now.
Anthony still has it. Travis can't get back in the ring, and now Gossett has Jarrett. Wow, would you look at that clothesline? Who had ever thought Gossett could do that, but he almost took Jarrett's head off. Here he goes again. Man, oh man, he's decapitating this guy.
As Anthony and Tom Burton holding Von Erich and Travis off at bay as Ronnie Gossett and here all over Jarrett, man. This guy's big, and he's in here just crushing Jarrett's ribs after being nailed with that.
Well, you saw what happened. Ronnie P. Gossett working on Jeff Jarrett there after all is said and done. I can't believe he gets a cheer when he comes out here from some of the fans for doing all of that. Ronnie P. Gossett himself, but there's more to be heard from that particular situation.
Did you get a good look of how I knocked pretty boy Jeff Jarrett's head off? Did you see that?
I saw how you did it.
Blind as you are, and he has the audacity to go out and he wants more of Ronnie P. Gossett. I left that boy lying in the ring with this Gossett flop. I've beaten him everywhere, and he still wants more of Ronnie Gossett. Is he mentally retarded, or what's his problem?
He thinks that if he gets you in there 1 against 1, and that he can pretty well take care of you.
Shut up, you bunch of heathens, and don't call me Porky. He's had me in there one-on-one, and I left him lying in the ring. I could beat Jeff Jarrett on my worst day. And to beat all, let me tell you something, Dave Brown. I am a manager, the most prominent manager in the wrestling profession. I am not a wrestler. I have a health problem. I have an enlarged heart the size of a basketball, and I have to crawl in that ring with wimpy Jeff Jarrett.
You've got him one-on-one. It's going to be occurring right there in the ring, and I think Jeff Jarrett feels like he can take you. I've got an interview.
I don't care what you think. You'll find out what Jeff Jarrett can take. And getting off the subject of Jeff Jarrett, that's yesterday's news. I want to talk about the most sensational team in professional wrestling, my Dirty White Boys. And a little later on, we've got a United States Tag Team title match with Steve Dahl and Rex King, the female impersonators that call themselves the Southern Rockers. And when we get through with them, my white boys, Ronnie P., are going to walk and talk and strut and stroll right out of here with those World Tag Team belts.
Well, that remains to be seen.
We'll see. And who is that goof over there imitating me?
That's Bundy the Gorilla with his Ronnie P. Gossett mask on there. We do have the World Tag title match coming up here a little bit later on today.
I can hardly wait for my white boys to get a hold of Steve Dahl and Rexy King.
You're not going to win it standing here talking about it. You guys have got to win it in the ring. We'll see if they can do it a little bit later on. Right now, if you'll excuse us, I have a few words from Jeff Jarrett. Let's see what he has to say about the match with Gossett.
Ronnie P. Gossett. Yeah, this Monday night, it's going to be a big schools out party. Everybody's going to be having a good time, and that's including me, Ronnie P. Because I've got a single match with you. Yeah, last week in the sixth man, you thought you were real big and bad. Well, I guess you found out how tough you are. Well, this week it's a single match. It's just going to be me against you, Ronnie. Yeah, and I've wrestled you before, and you found out what happened. I've powdered and diapered you. I've whipped you with a belt and everything else. Now, Gossett, it's time to get you out of wrestling. You run your mouth and you want to stand beside Jerry Lawler and you want to do this and want to do that. Well, it's time to shut up all the talking, and you're going to have to back up what you can say. Well, Monday night, Gossett, like I said, everybody's going to be having a good time, and that's including me. You better get ready, because I've got one of these for you.
Is underway. Jerry the King Lawler, the Snowman, they're both out center of the ring. They look like more like boxers right now. Neither one really close to the other one. Still right in the center. Man, I think sitting out in the parking lot is too close to this one. It's going to be explosive. And this looks more like Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas than anything. Lawler trying to get in. Snowman fires in with a left. Doesn't really connect.
Lawler shaking it off. Telling him no way. Both these men. Snowman throwing a couple of punches. Not even touching Lawler.
Both of them being very careful. Snowman coming in. He's got Lawler. Lawler fires in with a couple. Lawler going into the midsection. And they're both down. They're both down. Lawler back up, firing away on Snowman. Snowman takes them down with a single leg. And this thing is quickly getting out of control.
Lawler all over the Snowman now. The crowd on its feet. All over the Mid-South Coliseum as Lawler all over the top of the Snowman. Jerry Calhoun now trying to restore a little order.
Well, there it was, the first flurry of action. And now Snowman on Lawler in the corner. He's got him trapped, trying to fire away in the midsection. Lawler tying him up. They're both over on the ropes. Lawler firing away to the midsection. Fires one to the side of the head. And both men still standing. As a matter of fact, everyone in this Coliseum tonight is on their feet. Snowman in on Lawler once again. The corner's a bad place to be. Lawler takes Snowman off his feet. Has him down. Lawler trying to keep the big man off his feet. Referee asking for a break. Can't get them apart. They're clenched in there tight.
I doubt if Calhoun's going to have any type of success of getting a break in this one. As the world champ gives him one, slides outside the ring, gonna climb back up in there. The world heavyweight champion back up in the ring now.
Well, they're back. They're back in the center of the ring. This double, look at the shot Snowman fired off on Lawler. Man, he could have broken a rib with that. Snowman has him backed over, fires off with a big haymaker. Lands another one. Lawler's reeling. Snowman going to work on Lawler. Lawler firing back off with a couple of fists. Snowman back down. Lawler going to work on Snowman. Snowman off his feet. Lawler firing away with fists. Trying to choke him. I have never seen two guys go at it like this before. Calhoun can't get Snowman off Lawler. He's trying to keep some kind of order in this. And as you said before, that's an almost impossible task.
Calhoun put down to the canvas. Lawler going in after the Snowman. Snowman turns him around over in the corner. Snowman laying in a couple of big rights now. Calhoun calling for the bell after the Snowman put Calhoun down on the canvas.
Well, as we told you, it was going to be a fight, we thought, Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. As you just saw, that's exactly what it turned out to be. Snowman is seated in the audience here again today. Now, there he is right there. He was offered dressing room facilities by the promoters, but he refused. He said he didn't want to have anything to do with any of the USWA wrestlers. So he's seated in the audience right there. When we come back here, we will update you on the current situation. Stay with us. Remember, we've got a USWA World Tag Team Championship match coming up here in just a few minutes. Right now, Eddie Marlin, I would like to have out here to bring us kind of an update on the situation with Snowman and Lawler from after what happened last week, Eddie.
Well, Dave, starting back, you know, to square one, I was unhappy with what happened. I didn't like it. I didn't condone it. And the match was not sanctioned. I gave him, you know, they had the match, and the outcome of it, I figured would settle everything and everything would be all right. But since then, I've been on the phone all week long. Snowman claims that he was robbed of the title because Jerry Calhoun was the referee. Now, as far as Jerry Calhoun refereeing, to me, he's one of the top referees anywhere in the country. He does a good job. I'll admit that he's a friend of Jerry Lawler. He plays baseball, softball with him. But when he's in the ring, he's business. So I started getting a lot of calls, a lot of criticism. The people that were backing Snowman, they said this happened. The people that liked Lawler say this was happening. So I figured the best way to get it out in the opening, get it settled for once and for all, to clear the claims that's made against the USWA, was to sanction a match. So I called Snowman. He said, yes, that'd be fine, if the referees are. So I offered him Calhoun. No. I offered him Frank Morrell, which does a good job. No. Paul Neighbors referees. No. And every once in a while, on special occasions, some of the fans will remember my brother Tommy Marlin.
Yep,
he would
Thomas.
come down and referee. I offered that, and he said, man, you must be crazy. No. So Snowman came out at the beginning, and he said the reason he couldn't get a title match was the color situation, which that is completely far from true. So I figured, well, King Cobra, that would satisfy him. And he laughed on the phone again, said not King Cobra. Finally, after going through so many names, offering him everything that it can offer, I said, what about Lou Winston? He lives in Memphis, you live in Memphis. So finally, he said, okay, I'll take Lou. So Big Lou, if you'll come out, I'd like to... Dave, the worst part about being in the wrestling business is you have to deal with wrestlers. I'm telling you, this has been one more heck of a week.
I'm sure it has, Eddie, no doubt about it. Here's Lou.
Lou, the thing I want to say, Eddie Marlin, I don't want to do this, but I will do it because you asked me.
I appreciate it.
First thing I want to say, I would call it right down the middle. But Lawler, Snowman, if you put your hands on me, you're going to pay for it, you understand? So I'm going to call it.
You know, I talked to Big Lou at great lengths on the phone, and I told him, Big Lou, if either one of them touch you, you can fine them. And he said, I'm going to tell you one thing, Eddie Marlin, if they touch me, it's more than a fine. They can be suspended from the wrestling, and if either one of them lays a hand on me, they won't have to worry about who they're wrestling because both of them will be out of it. So I told him he would be the referee. His decision was it, so the match is booked.
All right, and it is a sanctioned match by the USWA. Here's Snowman right here.
I offered you a dressing room back in the back. I didn't want you out in here.
You think you have to leave everything like this?
No, you can have your time in a minute. Just go back.
Man, I don't believe this one.
All right. Snowman headed back to his seat. As we told you earlier, Eddie had offered dressing room facilities, and he refused. Well, coming back this way. Is that all right, Eddie? All right, Snowman, we're going to provide you this opportunity to have your say. That mic is live.
Is it on?
Yep.
Okay, Dave Brown, I've been knowing you for a long time. How do you feel about the sanctioned match?
Well, if we're going to have a match, I think it should be sanctioned by the governing body, which is the USWA. So I'm glad that's the sanctioned match this time.
Oh, okay, the match was sanctioned. And I got my men sitting right over there by the security guard right there. Stand up, Big Tim. Okay, here's what happened. My guys was at the ringside. The promoter, Eddie Marlin, said, none of your guys will come out and interfere. No one will interfere. If they do, and then it seemed like to me directed to my fellas over here, because I'm going to keep some big guys with me because I don't trust the organization right now. He told my men, said, if any of you guys get up or do anything interfere in the match, they're going to jail. So who wants to go to jail? Okay, but check this out, good people of Memphis. Time I beat Lawler brains out, and then Jerry Calhoun comes up, pulls me off of him, and whoever did the editing of the tape, I want to thank you and give you a big hand, because it looked one-sided to me. I was there. Were you there? Let me tell you something. And then look, how can the match be a non-sanctioned match? And if I'd have beat his brains out, pinned him, 1, 2, 3, what was I going to win anyway? So since I wasn't going to win anything, why didn't Jerry Calhoun let me beat his brains out? And then here come all the men from the dressing room come out to break it up. Break up what? I need to beat his brains out. It's a non-sanctioned match. They didn't go to jail. Did any of the guys go to jail? What about that? How do you feel about that? Non-sanctioned match. My guys do not move. You go into jail. Okay. Here come the other guys. As soon as I get Lawler down beating his brains out, I ask him, I said, you about ready to tell me what time it is in this city? He go, yeah. Okay, Snowman, I tell you what, it's not racial anymore. It's just me and you, but I don't want the promoters to let you have me right now. So why are you begging me like this? Why don't you take some of that good money you got and carry it down there to Save the Children Project? But he was begging so hard. I knew something was going to happen. I seen a big cloud coming. I seen all the dirty white boys, everybody that's come up and break us up. And it was a non-sanctioned match. You think that was fair to me, Dave Brown? And hold up, let me put the icing on the cake. I don't want to take too much of the time. Channel 5 is a strong TV station. I'd like to apologize to all the people out there how I conducted myself last 2 Saturdays. I'm a very intelligent black man. And I don't have any problem with anybody out here. My problem is with Jerry Lawler. But look, the icing on the cake, how would you like someone to referee in your match and come to find out that he's in the family and then he plays center field for the Lawless Army?
Well, you may have a point, but...
A point, Dave, come on.
As Eddie said, he said Calhoun calls it down the middle every time. That's what I've usually seen, but I'm going to tell you this. You've got the referee that you've agreed upon.
This is a title shot.
This is a title shot, and you've got Lou Winston as a referee.
And Lou, what is Lou saying? He don't care about either one of us, right?
That's right. He says he's going to call it right down the middle.
If Lou don't call it right, I'm going to smack him in the middle next week.
Keep in mind that this is a sanctioned match, so if you do that, you can be fined and suspended from any USWA
Lou
event.
cannot be interfering in the match, and I'm so glad that center fielder for Jerry Lawler's softball team is not going to be there. And I told Lawler I'm going to follow him everywhere he goes. And you know I'm going to follow him to all them little stinking softball games he go to. I'm going to watch him everywhere he goes. When he go to eat, when he turn around, he goes, ugh, Snowman. Oh, wow.
Here comes Lou. Lou?
I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to touch Lawler. So you keep your hands off. You understand that, boy?
I got you, boy. Hey, Lou. Lou, I may not do nothing with you, boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, Snowman, we've given you your chance. You've made a point or two. You've got the match. I think that's the main thing. It's going to be a sanctioned match. It's going to be a title match. And you got Lou Winston, who's always been a man of his word and says he's going to call it right down the middle. That's it, Monday night.
He can do what he want to do. Everybody going to be calling me a boy when I show how big these big guns.
We'll find out Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. It's the main event of the night. It is a sanctioned match, and it is going to be a title match Monday night at the Coliseum.
Thank you, Dave. He's going down.
Well, this thing is underway. Jerry the King Lawler, the Snowman, they're both out center of the ring. They look like more like boxers right now. Neither one really close to the other one. Still right in the center. Man, I think sitting down in the parking lot is too close to this one. It's going to be explosive. This looks more like Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas than anything. Lawler trying to get in. Snowman fires in with the left. Doesn't really connect.
Lawler shaking it off. Telling him no way. Both these men. Snowman throwing a couple of punches. Not even touching Lawler.
Both of them being very careful. Snowman coming in. He's got Lawler. Lawler fires in with a couple. Lawler going into the midsection. And they're both down. They're both down. Lawler back up, firing away on Snowman. Snowman takes them down with a single leg. And this thing is quickly getting out of control.
Lawler all over the Snowman now. The crowd on its feet. All over the Mid-South Coliseum as Lawler all over the top of the Snowman. Jerry Calhoun now trying to restore a little order.
Well, there it was, the first flurry of action. And now Snowman on Lawler in the corner. He's got him trapped, trying to fire away in the midsection. Lawler tying him up. They're both over on the ropes. Lawler firing away to the midsection. Fires one to the side of the head. And both men still standing. As a matter of fact, everyone in this Coliseum tonight is on their feet. Snowman in on Lawler once again. The corner's a bad place to be. Lawler takes Snowman off his feet. Has him down. Lawler trying to keep the big man off his feet. Referee asking for a break. Can't get them apart. They're clenched in there tight.
I doubt if Calhoun's going to have any type of success of getting a break in this one. As the world champ gives him one, slides outside the ring, going to climb back up in there. The world heavyweight champion back up in the ring now.
Well, they're back. They're back in the center of the ring. Fist double. Look at the shot Snowman fired off on Lawler. Man, he could have broken a rib with that. Snowman has him backed over, fires off with a big haymaker. Lands another one. Lawler's reeling. Snowman going to work on Lawler. Lawler firing back off with a couple of fists. Snowman back down. Lawler going to work on Snowman. Snowman off his feet. Lawler firing away with fists. Trying to choke him. I have never seen two guys go at it like this before. Calhoun can't get Snowman off Lawler. He's trying to keep some kind of order in this. And as you said before, that's an almost impossible task.
Calhoun put down to the canvas. Lawler going in after the Snowman. Snowman turns him around over in the corner. Snowman laying in a couple of big rights now. Calhoun calling for the bell after the Snowman put Calhoun down on the canvas. Lawler and Snowman, look at this. Lawler just digging his fingers into the Snowman's eyes. Both of these guys going after each other, tooth and nail now.
Well, that was the action that took place last week that we saw a couple of minutes ago. We've heard from Snowman. We've heard from Eddie Marlin about the special referee coming up. And right now, here comes the king himself, Jerry Lawler, to talk about the situation here, too, that has been going on. And I'm sure you may have a word about the special referee and other things.
I got a few words that I want to say. You know, first of all, I heard Snowman over there running his mouth about how he beat my brains out. And, you know, last time I checked, I didn't know a person that could walk around and walk and talk and do things without a brain, but I'm out here and I'm walking and talking, so obviously I still have my brain, Snowman. You ran your mouth so much about what you were going to do, and if you watched that tape just like we all did, I don't think Snowman did diddly squat, if you know what I'm telling you. Now let me say this. Another thing, Snowman, I know it's been kind of rainy around Memphis, but I guess you were really expecting some high water today with those pants. If you can't afford a whole pair of pants, come see me sometime. I'll buy you a pair, okay? Now, before we talk any more about Snowman, because I do have a few things that I want to say about him, but Snowman likes to talk about how well-liked he is all around Memphis, Tennessee, and how he gets on the air at all the radio stations. Well, let me tell you something. I want to talk a little bit about what's going to take place Monday night. You're right, it is going to be a big night, and there's going to be some very nice things to look at down at the Coliseum, much better looking than having to look at somebody like Snowman all night. So what I want to do right now is I want to bring out a good friend of mine, a couple of good pals of mine, Bad Wayne Bright from Magic 101. Bad Wayne, come here for just a minute, if you would. Of course, he got his Magic 101 bodyguards. You know what's real funny? It seems like all of a sudden everybody has to have bodyguards. Now, Bad Wayne, I can understand that you having to have a bodyguard because a man like you needs a bodyguard for one thing. Not to keep men off of him, but to keep all the lovely ladies off of you. Is that right?
That's it, Jerry. That's it. Every time I come down here, you know, we get followed by these lovely ladies, and we've got some lovely ladies from Night Moods down here today. Lingerie, bathing suits, hey, they're down here.
Well, I'll tell you what. Rather than waste any more time, if you would, why don't you let them come on out and just kind of strut there and say, hey, would you like to see some of the lovely ladies from Night Moods just for a minute here? Yeah, let's just see that.
This is Lee, Jerry. Her name is Lee, and this is Janet from Night Moods. Coming out now, we have Teresa, and we're going to have Tammy. This is Tammy, and she's in a bathing suit. This is Kelly, and last but not least, we have, where's Sheila? We should have Sheila. There's Sheila coming out. And these are why I have a bodyguard. Ladies follow me everywhere.
All right, well, they're going to be at the Coliseum this coming week. You're going to be there, too, a special guest ring announcer there. But, all right. And there's Sheila coming around Bundy the Gorilla.
This is what you need when you go places, an entourage to follow you. So this is my entourage from Night Moods.
I can understand that. Now, Bad Wayne, of course, everybody can catch him on Magic 101. I understand you got some tickets you're going to be giving away Monday morning, too, on the radio, people listening?
Monday from 6 until 10, we're going to have tickets all morning to give away on Magic 101. Just tune in, and we'll tell you exactly when to call in to win the tickets.
Okay, Bad Wayne, thank you. I'll see you Monday night. You're going to do the ring announcer, right?
Monday night at Coliseum.
Now, you can all understand... You can all understand why a man like Bad Wayne would need a bodyguard to keep those lovely ladies off of me. But, Snowman, as I look at you standing over there, as ugly as you are, ain't no ladies nowhere going to want to be around you. So why do you always have to surround yourself? Yes, stand up, Snowman. Come on.
Eddie?
What? Why? Hey, Snowman, let me ask you. Why do you have to have bodyguards, huh? You want to surround yourself. He came down there Monday night. Yeah, stand up. Oh, yeah. Hey, there they are. Look at Mutt and Jeff. There's Mutt and Jeff right there. Hey, let me tell you something. What's that other guy? Ashamed to take his shirt off? I would be too, pal. Okay, hey, what does that prove, Snowman? You know what that shows me? All that shows me is that you are exactly what I told everybody you were, and that's a gutless wonder. You're scared to go anywhere by yourself, Snowman. You want to have a couple of goons hanging around in case it gets a little too hot in the kitchen. You want to call in some extra cooks, don't you? Hey, what's the matter? You had your chance to run your mouth, and you didn't get the job done, did you? Well, now I'm running mine, and I'm telling you, Snowman, I didn't back down from you, and I ain't scared of you, and all your big muscles don't impress me, and I'll take you on anytime, anywhere, any way you want it, brother. I don't care who the referee is. I don't care who the people in all... Yeah, come on. Hey. you're looking at right now, go ahead, you are looking right now at all Snowman is good at, and that's bumping those gums. He's great at running that mouth, and he might impress all of his friends over there who got brains about the size of a BB. He might impress them, and you might have a bunch of stooges that follow you around, Snowman. But as you can see, I don't need nobody standing behind me. I don't need no bodyguards, because you're looking at somebody right here, brother, that ain't afraid of taking on anybody, anytime, and I don't need nobody to handle my light work. I'll take you on anytime. And as far as the sanction of the match, I don't know if you were listening too good last week. Maybe you got muscles in your ears, too. I know you got one between your ears, but maybe you got them in your ears. I told you last week that that match was a title match. If you had beaten me, I'd have gladly handed you this belt just as I will this week. But you can't beat me on your best day, Snowman. You ran your mouth, and I put my fist right down your throat, and that's exactly what I'm going to do to you again Monday night. I'm going to shut you up once and for all, and then you won't be going anywhere running that mouth. Come on, we'll do it right now. I don't care.
No.
You're not going to wrestle on TV.
Hey, Snowman, all I can tell you is, now you got Eddie Marlin protecting you, don't you? Huh? Well, he won't be there Monday night to protect you. It's me and you. And now it's put up or shut up time, and you're going to see. I'm going to shut you up.
Well, there goes the king, Jerry Lawler. Belt in hand, crown in hand. Eddie, we've got Lawler scheduled in a match right here. Ring the bell, he says. Let's see if we can get him in here. Jerry Lawler, scheduled to go against Freezer Thompson in a one-fall, 15-minute time limit match. There's Freezer in the ring right now. There comes referee Jerry Calhoun. It's a one-fall, 15-minute time limit match. Here's Lawler coming back. Downtown Bruno. Out here again to take notes, it looks like. Got his notepad in hand. Hello, Bruno. Notice I didn't say welcome back, Bruno. Eddie Marlin telling the Snowman to stay out of the action here. Well, there's Lawler. Freezer Thompson waiting in the ring. There once again Lawler over by the crowd. Jerry Calhoun is out to say, hey, come on, get in the ring. We got a match against Freezer Thompson. Snowman, meanwhile, is about 50 feet away from Lawler, seated in the audience. Eddie Marlin is over near Snowman. Yeah, we want to keep him out of the action here. Lawler brings the belt and the crown, puts them on the wrestling desk here. The belt is not at stake in this one. Non-title match. Lawler up on the ring apron, steps through the ropes. And we're finally underway in this one. Freezer Thompson, he's a big one. Weighs in 300 pounds plus. Snowman on his feet. Over behind Lawler, and Eddie Marlin is calling security over now to keep Snowman out of the action. Lawler climbing up on the ropes. Discussion going on down by ringside. There's Lawler. Marlin is saying, hey, you leave him alone. We're going to keep him out of this match. You go ahead and have your match with Thompson. Lawler and Thompson tie it up back in the corner. Referee's there, wants him out of the corner, away from the ring post. Minute 15 seconds gone. Most of that time has not been action. It's been discussion. Lawler and Snowman discussing the situation with each other again over there. Freezer Thompson in there, facing the King. Shoulder comes up at the count of 1. Lawler with a toe hold on Thompson has him on the mat. Not in a pinned position, though. It's very easy for Freezer to pull that left shoulder up and stop the count at any time, and that's what he's been doing. Lawler putting the heat on. Got a twist on that toe hold. Lawler says to Calhoun, hey, let Snowman come on in here one time. Eddie Marlin and security are there to prevent that from happening, though. Oh, my goodness. Lawler distracts the referee and then hits Thompson in the very low part of the midsection. Oh, my goodness. A totally unnecessary move from Lawler. This time Lawler's caught using the fist and warned by referee Jerry Calhoun. Downtown Bruno says I'm taking notes and getting every bit of this down on paper. He liked the way Lawler used his head there. I think it was more like an elbow, Bruno. Lawler has Freezer back under the ropes. Right fist, he smacked him with it again. Freezer runs into that right hand, this time as he's coming off the ropes, and this time referee Jerry Calhoun is right there, and again warning Lawler about using the fist. Snowman down there yelling things at Lawler, and here's Lawler again, inviting him into the ring. Left fist time after time, and now the right. He staggers Freezer Thompson. Snowman over to say a word or two to Freezer. I don't know what he said to him, but he said something. Lawler climbing the ropes, drops down with a smash. Count is 1, 2. This one's over. Lawler gets the victory. Couple of dirty tricks in there from Lawler, but he ends up getting the win over Freezer Thompson. The 1, 2, 3 count fell at 4 minutes, 31 seconds. Lawler's hand raised as he gets the victory here over Freezer Thompson. Discussion continues. There's Lawler, fresh from the victory here. There's Eddie Marlin and Snowman right behind him. Freezer Thompson being helped out of the ring by the referee. Lawler still standing in the ring. Snowman still standing back over in the corner. Lawler climbs out of the ring over at his corner. And Bruno.
Hey, Snowman. Hey, Snowman. You know, I was right there. Must have been all of 6 inches away from you. If you felt froggy, why didn't you jump, huh? Why didn't you jump on me, huh?
There's Eddie Marlin next to Snowman. leaves the area. Snowman headed in that direction. Getting security in between them there, yeah. Come on, Lawler, head for the dressing room. Let's not get something started here. You've got the match coming up Monday night. There's Snowman, and Lawler finally leaving the area. Let's make sure he's out of here, and I'll tell you about the action coming up around the territory. Lawler is still standing near the door. Eddie Marlin still talking to Snowman. There goes Lawler. He's back, headed toward the dressing area. Eddie Marlin now returning, and Snowman over near his seat where he has been all day today during USWA Championship Wrestling. All right, let's talk about some action coming up around the... I'll tell you, before we even do that, let's tell you about the Jerry Lawler Show, which will be on at a special time. Got a World Tag Team title match coming up right now. You know, usually these World Tag, or any title match is a 1 hour time limit, and usually it's 1 fall to the finish. Well, this is going to be 2 out of 3 falls and a special TV time limit. Ronnie P. Gossett and the Dirty White Boys out here right now. Talking about, of course, Tony Anthony and Tom Burton as they step up onto the ring apron. Here comes Eddie Marlin and Rex King, Rex of the Southern Rockers. The Rockers, of course, are the current champions. They hold the belts. And Eddie, let's see. Eddie with Rex. Where's Steve?
Okay, Dave, we originally had a World Tag Team title match. And by the way, we got with all the promoters in here, and from now on, all of the tag team title matches will be 2 out of 3 falls, like this one today. But the reason I came out here, we had this one scheduled today, but for some reason or another, I don't know why. Rex said he didn't know why. Steve Dahl is not here. So we're going to reschedule the World Tag Team.
Hold on, no. There'll be no rescheduling. You come out here before and took half of this show up explaining rules and regulations of the USWA. We read the book. Huh? We read the book exactly like he just said. We read the book, so now there will be no rescheduling.
Eddie Marlin, rules go for us just like they go for anybody else. If that boy don't show up, you give us the belt. We're the new champions, and case closed.
That's it. They forfeit the belts unless they get in the ring. So won't you just give us the belts right now and save yourself a whooping?
Why don't y'all flip a coin?
We're not flipping anything. The only thing we're flipping is you if you don't give us the belt.
What did it say on the contract? Huh? What did it say on the contract?
I know what it said.
Tag team match.
I know what it said. Rex, as bad as I hate to say it, they're exactly right. According to the rules, if the champions don't show up, they forfeit the belt, so you can take the belt off and give them to them.
Come on.
Or you can wrestle.
Take that belt off, boys. Hand it over.
I'll tell you what, Eddie. Me and my partner, we worked too hard to get these belts. And I'm not handing them over to these scum right here. If they want them, they're going to take them from me.
Well, that's exactly what we'll do. We'll take them and get in the ring.
Dave, it'll just be a handicap match.
All right, well, there's precedent for this. This has happened before where one person has had to defend a tag team title, so that's going to be the situation. As you said, unfortunately, Dirty White Boys and Gossett are exactly right. The rules do state exactly this, that the belts must be defended when the contract is signed, or they must be forfeited. They can be defended in a handicapped situation, though, and that's exactly what we've got right here. World Tag Team titles on the line. Rex King in there by himself. He does not have the benefit of being able to go over to the corner and make the tag on his partner. Steve Dahl is not here. Rex is having to defend the World Tag titles by himself, and his chances are not good, especially going against a team like the Dirty White Boys. That's Tom Burton in there right now. Tony Anthony, the original Dirty White Boy. Waiting in the corner. Hair pulling by Burton. Fires Rex King. Ronnie P. Gossett up there. Monday the Gorilla was walking around with a huge set of underdrawers there. He claimed were Ronnie P. Gossett. Looks like about size 812. Rex King single-handedly trying to defend the World Tag Team Championships against the Dirty White Boys. Ronnie P. Gossett in the corner, and downtown Bruno still hanging around out here making notes. Keeping your eye on him, yeah.
Just a matter of time till these belts go right to the Dirty White Boys, Dave Brown. So you just sit over here and do what you naturally do. Look stupid.
Ronnie, I'll sit over here and discuss the situation as it occurs here. As we've already said, Dirty White Boys have to go in as a heavy favorite when you're just going against one of the Southern Rockers, and Rex King. But Rex King, a wrestler who's in fine shape, does he have the stamina to stay with him? And also, since it's 2 out of 3 falls, keep in mind, coming up here. I don't know. Let's just see how it goes here. As well, there may be a hint as Tony Anthony grabs the hair. Rex King leaps over. Tony Anthony, though, picks him up, body slams Rex King. And this is the point where Rex would perhaps be looking toward the corner. However, well, maybe not. He takes Tony Anthony down to the mat and bars the left arm. Remember, Rex does not have his partner in that corner. There's no tagging out for him. Dirty White Boys can tag out as they wish. And that's exactly what they do. Tony Anthony tags Tom Burton, who steps in there. Add Ronnie P. Gossett, their manager, over in the corner. Rex King, my goodness, what a move. Count of 1. He's got him hooked. He got a 3 count. Rex King gets the victory. 2 minutes, 28 seconds, and all of a sudden, it doesn't look so impossible for Rex King and the Southern Rockers to remain the World Tag Team Champions. Ronnie P. Gossett is livid. He's yelling at his men. How can this happen? It's 2 against 1. Tony Anthony is saying, what's going on? He looks at Burton, and they can't believe it. They have just been beaten. 2 against 1, 3 against 1 if you include that man right there, Ronnie P. Gossett. And they have just lost this first fall of action to Rex King, who was out here no manager and no partner, but defending the World Tag Team titles that, as he said, he and his partner worked so hard to attain and then regain at one point. So Rex King gets the victory. At this point, he is 1 fall up in a 2 out of 3 fall match. We will be back with more action for you in a moment. Well, I frankly thought about a minute after that first fall got started that Rex King was going to find himself pinned there and well on his way toward losing the World Tag Team titles held by himself and his partner, Steve Dahl. Steve's not here today. He's got the Ronnie P. Gossett doll with him that apparently he purchased from Bundy the Gorilla. Rex feeling better now, I got to tell you, because he's 1 fall up as he is defending the World Tag Team titles. Dirty White Boys out here again, Tony Anthony and Tom Burton. I think they were a bit embarrassed by the situation in the first fall, but at least they have been served notice that they are going to be in a battle here if they plan on walking out of here with the USWA World Tag titles. That's Tony Anthony. Tony Anthony insulting. Oh. Ronnie Gossett around agitating the crowd, and Bundy the Gorilla squirted in with some of that string that comes in the can here. Gossett upset about it. Well, downtown Bruno, and I guess his bodyguard, Tommy Lane, is that what Tommy is serving? He's watching, Tommy Lane watching your back here. Downtown Bruno, back out, seated in a chair, back about 6 or 8 feet from the ring area, just taking notes on just about every match here today.
Just taking notes. I hadn't been in this area for quite a while, but as you know, I'm a legend around here. I've got to keep my eye open and see if there's any people around that might be semi-legends, about to be legends, and downtown Bruno is always going to be there. It's like Mama says, Daddy, it bees that way sometimes. Dirty White Boys are number 1. I have a feeling they're going to be the champions for a long, long time. This guy doesn't have too much of a chance, with or without a partner.
Well, I tell you, that's you can say that if you want to, but I was just mighty impressed in 2:28 of the first fall as Rex King took the victory to go 1 fall up. Oh, Ronnie P. Gossett trips him up in the corner, 2, 3, and then held him. No, come on. Gossett trips him up, held him down with that foot.
That's a good manager right there. That is a good manager.
Yeah, good manager. That's cheating in the worst way. Absolutely, totally, blatant cheating by Ronnie P. Gossett and the Dirty White Boys. Unfortunately, the referee didn't see it. They walk out of here. They have just won the second fall. Rex King had things looking pretty good again in the second fall until Gossett got involved in it. But now Rex finds himself no better than even. It's one fall apiece. Third and deciding fall coming up. You stay with us. We'll see how the World Tag Titles come out. First fall of action went to Rex King. Steve Dahl not here today, didn't show up, don't know why. Dirty White Boys out here quickly. And Ronnie P. Gossett. Oh, they jumped Rex King before he could even get to the ring. It's one fall apiece. Referee says go ahead and ring the bell. One fall apiece. Rex King won the first fall. The Dirty White Boys won the second fall as Ronnie P. Gossett got involved. Oh, and they got him cut open. They ran him right into the ring post and cut Rex King open. Rex battling back, though. Tony Anthony out of the ring. Tom Burton going against Rex King. Referee gets in the middle of all of it. Rex rolls him down, got the shoulders down, but referee Jerry Calhoun is down on the mat. Tony Anthony, the other Dirty White Boy, comes in, rolls the referee over and says, count. Count is 1, 2. Oh, my goodness. I find it difficult to stomach what I've just seen here as the Dirty White Boys flagrant rule violations to take not one, but 2 straight falls from Rex King, who was in here bravely. Some foreign object there passed back to Ronnie P. Gossett. I saw what he did.
Great. Now you get a good look at the new USWA World Tag Team Champions. Ronnie Gossett told you it would happen, and it did.
It did, yeah, and we saw how it happened, too. I know what we saw.
What you just saw was perfection at its finest, Dave Brown. You seen 2 men go in. This punk had a chance just to hand over the belt and leave, and none of this would have happened, but no. He's got to be Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, Mr. Glory Hound. So you see what happened to him, and then because of that, you're looking at the new World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, we're looking at the new World Tag Team Champions, but what kind of champions have we got whose manager cheats to win the first fall for them, and then they come in with a foreign object and all of that other stuff to take the third fall after they jump him before he can even get to the ring. Rex in here trying to defend the titles on his own and won the first fall and was actually 1 fall up. And then Dirty White Boys and Gossett, I guess, put their heads together and decided, hey, we're going to have to do some things in order to win this one, but that's what we're going to do. And that's what they did. And they end up taking the World Tag Team titles from Rex King and Steve Dahl. So your new world champions, whether we like it or not, are the Dirty White Boys, Tom Burton and Tony Anthony, with Ronnie P. Gossett, their manager. Quickly, let's hear a couple of words from Billy Travis about an upcoming match.
Well, if you're looking for trouble, you came to the right place. If you're looking for trouble, old Billy's gonna bust your face, Tom Burton. Let me tell you something, punk. You asked Alex Porto what happened to him. You asked Jimmy Powell what happened to him. Every time I've got you in the ring, that fat slob Ronnie Gossett's come down and kicked my face in. That other Dirty White Boy, Tony Anthony's kicked me in. So, punk, let me tell you something. If I got to bring my guitar again, I'll just do that Monday night in Memphis, Tennessee, because I'm going to bust it over your fat head, punk, and run you out of Memphis just like them 2 other jerks. Got it?
That's Billy Travis about the match which is coming up. New World Tag Team title holders. One quick note before we leave you. Many times people say, how do I get wrestlers to appear at my organization, for my organization or my group? Call this number right here, Championship Marketing, area code 901-375-4044. One more time, 901-375-4044 for Championship Marketing. They will give you all the information on how to have a wrestler at your function or event. Well, again today, we had Lawler in here. Lawler won his match against Freeze.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.